Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Please do subscribe both channels, Evolutionary Energy Arts and over on EEARTS as well. We'll get some updates about some of the things we were talking about yesterday. And we did one this morning. Chinese troops arrive in Ukraine, ? And China bought 1,400 acres for a primate lab facility quarantine center in Florida. Okay, so let's go take a look at Mexico. Michoacan in the house.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, and this is actually where my family comes from, as I've shared over my dad's side, as my grandfather on my father's side was a farmer who basically migrated, as far as I know, legally, hope so, to Sacramento, California from Michoacan. And we had that 7.6, and we do have 4 aftershocks. The biggest one is 5.9. And, here you see a 5.8, which is that 5.9 according to the USGS. It's so curious to see the USGS higher than what other sources. They're never higher. They're usually lower. As you know, USGS downgrading service in the house as well. So 2 people did lose their lives so far. And this was so unusual that you had 3 major quakes that struck 1985. Then again, 2017, and then 5 years after that, 2017, we had one yesterday. So we have a lot of things going on. If I didn't know better, I would say Mother Nature is mad at us. But we do know better. As you see, tsunami waves started to affect Manzanillo in Mexico following this quake. Rolling in, no loss of life there. They're rolling in. They are absolutely an inconvenience, and they are going to cause some issues. Thankfully, nothing catastrophic, no, horror sci-fi movie type events.
I know. I mean, if I saw that, though, I would really freak.
Yeah, she's got a little innate fear of water, yes. Especially water where, it could be like, oh, is that a gator swimming by? What's like swimming by there?
Yeah, it's a little like that.
So this is some more scenes showing the tsunami effects. And as we know, it's going to get more bumpy. The guides, and since this is EEARTS, we speak openly about the guides instead of our sources, powers that be, what have you. The guides are nudging us strongly to get a lot of things that we've been procrastinating done, and we have. And, I just, went out there. We needed this, we needed that. It makes me a little sick to my stomach and nervous when you strap yourself a little bit more financially, so to speak, even if you're able to do it, to do what you can. There's the feeling is get what you need to get. There is probably something coming that's going to be a disruption that we haven't seen yet, and so don't panic, but just get yourself situated. Again, just imagine What would I do if the power was out for a week? What would you do? What would you do? I mean, we had one family member we were talking to yesterday that was saying, she just went and rented a house. She rented a house. Now the house has a well, but she's thinking about getting a hand pump for the well because what if the power goes out? She has a generator, but again, how long will the gas last and how much gas will I be able to get? I mean, there's a lot of things. I think we got to fine tune ourselves right now. We have to make our checklist, really think about things. There's always things. Like yesterday, somebody said to us, how about communication? I'm like, well, we got 2 walkie-talkies and we have a little ham radio. Shoot, I'm embarrassed to say I'm not sure where they are. With the moving that we did and the packing and some stuff, I'm not really sure where they are. Of course, it's not the biggest house, so we should be able to find them. But this is exactly what I'm talking about. And Cindy will be like, I need some batteries. Oh, I know. We got tons of those. Where are they? Uh, I think they're over there. I mean, this is the time to check and get everything situated as best you can. As we were saying yesterday, again, what if you had stocked up with, I don't know, 300 pounds of rice and beans, 400 pounds of rice and beans, and you did it last year? Now you're going to be paying 25-30% more for the same thing. And it's probably going to go way higher on down the line, another 3 to 6 months, if it's going to be available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so definitely, possibly in for a bumpy yet short ride. So this is where we all want to activate that Mars energy, and that's what we're doing. And it's good to have funds in the bank, but when we're dealing with things like that, you probably want to get those tangible things that you need. So that's the most important. We got to prioritize right now.
As you look at that building shaking substantially, I wouldn't want to be standing right next to that. This is when the quake hit yesterday. That could be deadly. Absolutely. Preparedness. So, 4 dead as typhoon brings intense mudslides and flooding to Japan. So you have Mexico with the quake. You have Japan with flooding. China's going through the same sort of thing from a typhoon as well. Over in New Zealand, we have a volcanic alert level raised to level 1. That's on a 6 scale. There is some ground deformation at this volcano. The thing about this volcano is it is a super volcano. Now, this is in New Zealand, Lake Taupo. Thanks, Tina, for bringing this up. When you look at it, though, I mean, don't panic. 700 earthquakes. You see 2022 right now, we still have, a quarter of the year left, a little bit more. And it's behind 2019. So we have had more activity in the past. And really, if we look way back farther, you could see 64 to 65, 83 to 84, 1922. That was a wonderful year. As if I remember it well. Mm-hmm. But I do through my father's DNA. So, yeah. You've seen a lot more activity there. The last major eruption, 232 AD. Now this is definitely something to watch, but I wouldn't be panicking or worried about it. Do you get any feeling from the guides with this?
Just it feels like there's kind of deliberate interruption. I can say that this is a bit of a darker energy taking advantage of. It's a advantage type of situation that we have going on.
And here, just taking a look at Fiona, because we were talking about Fiona yesterday, and it's a Category 3. It's going to intensify to Category 4 is what they're expecting. They're not expecting it to really impact the U.S. It could impact Canada, but more than likely we'll have to watch it and see it probably drift out over the Atlantic, hopefully, but it has been causing problems. Here's the computer models, the spaghetti models. Definitely been causing some problems, as you could see that intensity of that rainfall. So not just Puerto Rico, but the Dominican Republic has been hammered as well. As you could see, very, very strong winds, significant flooding as well. Dominican Republic is not the wealthiest island out there, in Haiti, even probably less so. Be a lot of people needing some help, but absolutely gorgeous area. A lot of power outages. Turks and Caicos, another beautiful area. They were also slammed with hurricane conditions and a lot of flooding. Let's send our prayers out there to everyone. So 286,000 people of roughly 1.5 million Luma Energy customers have power, so the majority still have no power. And sometimes things do move very slowly when it comes to that type of event. This is actually in Illinois, and some clips from coverage.
There's a lake that's in the studio right now because of all of the heavy rainfall here that kind of came in. So hold on here. Sorry, guys. So
having fun with it in the studio with the studio flooded out, and it just makes for some good news, right?
Oh, fun.
As here you can see, he's measuring the watermark at about a foot deep in the studio. So the food supply stays tight. Disappointing U.S. harvest adds to global challenges. Agriculture executives say we need at least 2 years of bumper crops in order to relieve some pressure from the drought and from the war in Ukraine. Of course, the war came at the exact worst time in the exact worst spot. And, here we have again crops not doing so well overall. And the food supply is tightening. And yet you have mass cullings going on. It's more like looking to that time period. Sure, things are ugly now, but that time period, 2024 into 2025, is when, that's when we're talking more in line with the things we've seen in Ireland with the potato famine. In the future, now is the time to get ourselves situated to be able to ride out the storm in the future. So you have to be thinking longer term. This is not just going to be over like that. It's not like, okay, 2023 comes, everything's going to be fine. No. This is something that's going to be an ongoing challenge for quite a while. So we have to be ready for it. It's a marathon. There's reasons why they have these dates, like Agenda 21. Didn't so much of the chaos in the world start January 21? In so many ways. I mean, there's been a build-up. We saw all the Earth changes seem to accelerate exponentially after that first August 2017 eclipse, and it kind of feels like there's going to be a crescendo when that second eclipse comes in, and X marks the spot in 2024, right over the New Madrid.
I was thinking about definitely doing some remote viewing on that, because it seems like there's going to be a lot of things people needing to sustain for a little while, not long term, but at least for a little while on what they have. And what we have coming up feels like a little bit of a, I don't want to say dry run, but something to let us know that we need to be ready for some different kind of shortages.
And just to again reiterate, you want to buy organic as much as you possibly could. When you have organic stuff like wheat berries, for instance, which we have some organic wheat berries stored, so you could plant wheat if you have an area. Again, when you have organic beans, organic lentils, you could sprout them. You could sprout lentils. There's great nutrition in that, and you could also plant them and grow more. If they're not organic, you're not going to get any harvest from the stuff. More than likely, you won't get anything to produce when you try to grow them. So again, growing stuff. We have organic amaranth and organic quinoa and rice and beans and lentils and all those things. Again, we have to be thinking longer term, and we recognize that here we are. We're living in a town. We are in a town. Sure, it's a very small town, and we're on the edge of it, but it's still in a town in a typical size lot in America, 1/4 of an acre. Not even 1/4 of an acre, but you can maximize that space to survive. And if it has been done, it can be done. Jake Mays, again, I brought him up before. He was living in Arizona. Now he's off-grid in British Columbia on a much larger acreage, but he was living in the Phoenix area in a suburb on like 1/5 of an acre, and he grew more food than he could possibly eat on that. It can be done. So we have to really recognize we need to think much, much longer term. Unless you're, just going to say, okay, Big Brother, Uncle Sam, I'll do whatever you say. Just give me the rations, give me my universal basic income, and I'll just gobble down all that GMO food. We're not going to do that. Not at all. Hell no.
No, I wouldn't feed that stuff to the pups.
Absolutely not. We love them. Why would we feed that stuff to them? So U.S. building permit crash in August. Multifamily starts hit record high. That made my eyes do a little Spock twitch, where one eye goes up and the other eye goes down, kind of like, uh-huh. So, we know the housing crash is coming. We know Vanguard, BlackRock, they have tens of billions of dollars, maybe hundreds of billions, just earmarked to buy everybody's property when it comes. And what are they ultimately going to do? They are going to herd us into these mega cities. How are they going to do it? Well, we could see it. It's going to be, again, through, well, you're really hungry, you're starving, you're going to have to go where you are told. You're going to have to eat what you're told and what's available. Part of this is going to be, again, that trend and the tendency towards smaller and smaller housing and more compact in. Think about Japan. Think about Tokyo. Oh, wow, you are so lucky. You have a 400 square foot apartment. That's a mansion. 400 square feet. Wow, I wish I had that. This is where we're heading. We're heading towards, think about that FEMA housing you've seen in a permanent manner.
I know, it's pretty yucky.
Absolutely. Switzerland's environment minister suggests people shower together to save energy. Shoot, go shower with your neighbors. This is going to, it's just going to keep escalating, well, you guys, you're going to, of course, be eating the insects, and, shower together, shower in groups, turn off the computer, turn off the lights. Get ready for life in the dark. But you know what? It's romantic to turn the lights off and have a little candlelight dinner with your loved one, isn't it?
I want to see them do it first.
Showering together could be romantic too, but we better stay PG. We'll leave it right there.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Sweden shocks markets with record 100 basis point rate hike as it rushes to hit its terminal rate. Terminal rate. Boy, that sounds pretty deadly, does it not?
Pretty deadly, yeah.
Yeah, and all this is all about getting towards that first stage in the Great Reset, which very likely is upon us, that first stage, because it will come in stages. And again, you could check David, Adapt 2030. He's on top of a lot of the things when it comes to the Great Reset. We've had many discussions on the side about this. And he most definitely, he is anticipating some major events between now and the end of October. And what we are getting is basically confirming that. It's financial is the next big thing that we're seeing. There's multiple things going on, and it's not that financial is going to start and there's going to be no earth changes, or the financial is going to start, there's going to be no more diseases out there. No. It's just the focus of everything is going to be shifting to a new stage.
Right, and that's the time for that emotional preparedness.
Meanwhile, Europe's economy and living standards are plummeting. Again, this is all about the end of NATO and the end of the NATO countries being the leading dominant powers on the planet. The powers that be, they're basically packing up. They got their boxes all packed. They're all taped shut nice and neatly. Of course, none of the powers that be did any of the packing. They wouldn't do that. No, they hire people to do the packing for them. And, they got their little stickers that they're slapping on it. Says, Beijing. So, CCP, here they come. This is exactly what is going on. Britain, 60% of enterprises are on the verge of closing due to higher electricity prices. Out of nowhere, we were talking about that, going from $6,500 a month in electricity for this one business to $330,000. How can anybody survive that? You're not supposed to. That's the whole point.
That's the key.
This is part of that great switch. This is the big switch. This is a shell game of the biggest variety.
Yeah, it's pretty disturbing.
Meanwhile, the majority of Hungarian gas stations to run dry next week. Whoa, that's scary. We saw that in Sri Lanka. It was ugly. Now we're going to start to see it in other places, including Europe. Oh, yes. This is where things go to a totally different place. And so Similar to other European countries, the Hungarian government decided to maintain price caps on fuel and essential foodstuffs until the end of the year. Regarding the possible fuel shortage, the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff said on yesterday's government info that there might be problems at the petrol stations. But don't worry. It's all going to be okay. They trust in the sustainability of their decisions. We shall see. I got a feeling we're going to see some interesting stuff happening in the streets there. Amazon suspends construction of new warehouses in Spain as the consumption boom falters. Yes, there is a backlog of goods, major goods, that are not being bought. And we needed a major appliance. I went in the store. I was like shocked to see that things looked good. As far as, do you have this in stock? Yes, we do. It's this much off. Yes, it is. Okay. Well, we know right now is the time to get things. Again, you can trade goods. If you want to stay out of the system, think in terms of things to trade. And a lot of you understand all this. I mean, this has been talked about in so many survival websites and YouTube channels. Just think back to the days of the pioneers. What would you want? What's a value, real value? Well, shoot, I'll trade this cow for 20 chickens and 2 hogs. Okay, sounds fair. But besides that, ammo, people would trade ammo, people would trade food, people would trade tools. Think of that too. I mean, anything really could be tradable. Absolutely silver and gold. And again, this is something I've debated a little bit because, as far as what we get from YouTube, it's almost nothing really. In Evolutionary, it is nothing. But, I just haven't wanted to become the salesperson, so to speak. Medicinal Foods is different. Those guys are part of the family. They're nice people, and they don't really care. The money is not the thing with them. They want help to help people's health, so we don't mind supporting them because they're really good people. But then again, gold and silver will be helpful for barter and trade. It always holds its value. And some people think that, silver especially might be many, many times its value in the future as they are pulling silver out of the market. And, again, it's going to be used for a lot of the technology.
A lot. And there's so many different things silver can be used for. If you were to look it up, your head would spin. Absolutely.
So, all this is pointing again to that fact that we have to get ourselves as situated as possible. EU seeks sweeping new crisis powers to secure critical supply chains. Again, cause an issue, because what's the solution? Well, the real solution is that, the problem is there just to condense power. That's why the problem exists. It's to allow greater use of power in an extreme condition, situation, or environment that normally people would never be willing to give over. But when people are hungry and starving, or they're facing the fact that I can't pay this bill, what are we going to do? So then the powers that be say, don't worry, we're going to take care of you. Just grant us this authority. It's just like signing on the dotted line. You don't even know what you're signing. And next thing you know, they're evicting you or what have you.
It's really crappy when they do that to people, but it happens all the time.
It does. The Single Market Emergency Instrument, SMEI, was unveiled on September 19th by the European Commission, which would be granted the power to declare an emergency and trigger a range of market interventions. And again, we've seen the insider trading of people like the Pelosi's, and we've seen how even 46 and his number 2 their personal wealth has increased way more than their salaries since they've been in control. There's nothing like taking advantage of a good crisis. This is exactly why the crises are there, so there could be taken advantage of. And here we have more wonderful, wonderful beings on the planet dying, probably because of the poisons, the toxins, and all the horrible frequencies that are emitted constantly on this planet in a harmful way to everything on this planet. At least 14 sperm whales die in a mass stranding in Australia. Cindy was getting the impression of exactly how important whales are with the planet.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this was really kind of threw me back a little bit. The frequency that these beings put off is critical for our balance and for the earth to maintain. So when we see these creatures, when this happens, the frequency changes. It changes on the planet. And this was coming back from Lemuria. These are beings, and they're like planetary guardians. They are very, very important. So we don't want to see that. Definitely any healing energy you can send these guys would be greatly appreciated, because we need them to stay in place.
Absolutely. And I think, again, some of our belief systems give us the false idea that humans are so far superior to other forms of life because we make all these things. But when you're talking about like dolphins and whales, for instance, who really is the superior life form?
And you and I were just talking about the golden age the other night and different technologies and how it's so non-invasive. If they want to make a ship to move around in, they can pull the energy in from the etheric realms and just use what the mother already has around in abundance. And this little guy, look, if you're not looking, please look at the screen. This is so therapeutic, you guys. And then I was asking myself, why is it okay when fluffy little bunny's eyes are black, but no one else's? This little guy, he was so cute and adorable. Look at that. Oh my gosh, let that soak in. We should all be that free and happy and content and just hugging our favorite thing.
Absolutely. So what's the difference between the soul of, say, this little bunny or a big whale or a dolphin and a human? It's just a vehicle. And whatever past lives the soul has had, there really isn't a superiority of humans over other animals. They, in many ways, the animals are way more connected to source than we are.
I would say higher vibrational, because they are operating out of the instinct of purity, where we have been indoctrinated, and that's not helpful for our vibration. It doesn't make us bad. It just means that they control our vibration more than a little creatures like this. So if we're feeling down, feeling blue, hug on those kitties, hug on those puppies, go visit the horses, go visit the cow next door, because they will. I promise you, they will pull your vibration right back up. They're just amazing little angels.
Absolutely. Again, guys, thanks for your support over on Patreon and on Ko-Fi. Ko-Fi, you could do a one-time donation to support the channel, or monthly, just like on Patreon. They're nice guys, too. They don't actually take a cut. That is unusual in this world. And check out Medicinal Foods again. Link on every video. Coupon code EEA gets you a discount. Does support the channel. Much love. May you stay prepared in these times. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.